This song, it just makes you want to go, yes! Hey Wreck Nation, this is Just Paul of Wrecked Radio, and this is the long-awaited Killers Battleborn album review! As I did last time, I reviewed it on the public transportation. Let's get right into my first reactions. When I listened to this album, a review came to mind that I did 2 years ago, and that was This Is War by 30 Seconds to Mars. Man, it's been a long time. And the critique I want to make that is similar to that album is that in both of these albums, there was a very prominent theme or recurring thread, and that was the presence of a battle. In the music, in the drums, the guitar, the lyrics, the vocals, it really represented this sense of victoriousness, victory, and really charging and fighting for what you stand for, that kind of idea. I also really heard, when I was comparing it to the previous albums, the previous Killer albums, I heard a lot of Sam's Town, so I believe this is like Sam's Town revamped, for anyone who likes that album. It had this old western feeling to it, and as a lot of Killers fans know, the Killers are from Las Vegas, Nevada, so it's like a cross between the glittery showiness of Las Vegas, as well as the old Southwest feel of cowboys and canyons and desert. So let's jump right in to the tracks. Flesh and Bone, I believe, was a great opening to this album. A lot like I said with the Matchbox 20 album, I believe this opened the door to the theme, the album in itself as a concept, and also reminding us we are the Killers, this is what we sound like, this is what we do, this is how we do, and I believe that it kind of vamped everybody up and got them excited for what they were going to hear next. Runaways now was the first single off of Battleborn. I believe this had a great build-up and amazing drums that kind of reminded me of The River is Wild, or rhythm that at least reminded me of The River is Wild. When I originally heard Runaways, my first critique on it was that I was kind of upset because the beginning of the song was really boring me. But when it got to the chorus, it just revved everybody up and got them so excited. Got me excited at least, and I was excited for this album. And again, we hear this unique clash of glitter and covered wagons. The way it was, the note I wrote down about that is the introduction to another thread that ran through this album. And I described it, or pinpointed it, as 80s hair ballads, or late 70s fantasy movies. At least that's one of the songs, and I'll get to that later. But there is definitely a very retro homage to a lot of the old sound. And the Killers are now a mature band. I think this is their 4th LP. Pretty sure. But they have honed their style, and I believe they can control it and kind of skew it in a way that is intelligent. Here With Me was probably the first new song that I had never heard before that struck me, that because I put the album on for the first time while I was doing elsewhere on my computer, and Here With Me was the first song that I'm like, whoa, what is this? I really like it. It was a ballad, and I'm really happy to say that it was incredibly passionate and emotional. Over time, maybe some artists lose that passion, and that dirtiness and that really dramaticness, but somebody like Brandon Flowers does not lose it. I think the thing that really struck me was the notes that were being hit by Mr. Brandon Flowers. And another thing that was funny to me was, I do believe that there is such a traditional, very old-timey, epic feel to all these Killer songs, and the use of the phrase, cell phone, was incredibly funny to me. It catches my attention every single time. It's, don't want your picture on my cell phone is the lyric. And that's really funny to me in the way that I don't believe Brandon Flowers or the Killers live in this decade. You never see them in t-shirts and jeans, almost never. You know, Brandon Flowers is very, very stylish, and he is always wearing something hot and dapper. So the use of that term is just strange. Matter of Time was the song that I realized it was all uphill from here. Out of all the songs, I believe this had the greatest storyline and even lyrics. At least I could pick them out the best out of any other song. An entire half verse really struck me. It was, there's a panic in this house and it's bound to surface. Just walking through the front door makes me nervous. It's creeping up the floorboards, got me wondering where I stand. I cannot put out the fire. I've got a book of matches in my hand. You're a genius, Brian Flowers. And like a lot of other songs, this is probably the third thread that I found running through this album and the lyrics. Like most of the other songs, I'm going to say most because it was a very reoccurring theme, that a lot of the lyrics as storylines, they were reminiscent. They looked back a lot. It makes me think that, you know, Brandon Flowers isn't that old. It's funny, I thought he was so much older, but he just turned 30 this year, I think. And he has like, doesn't he have like 4 kids or something like that? Totally making that up, I think. We're gonna move on to Deadlines and Commitments. When I first saw this title, I'm like, wow, that's something I don't want to listen to. Because what 23-year-old wants to listen to a song called Deadlines and Commitments? That's like the two things that I hate. that I try to avoid. It ended up being very encouraging. And this is a comparison I've made before of Brandon Flowers, that he's reminiscent of this maturity that I find in Phil Collins. I wonder if he'd like that comparison, as if he's watching. A lot of people on the net, meaning you, said that you guys liked Miss Atomic Bomb. It was funny because this one didn't stand out as much to me as it did for you guys. I did kind of compare it to Dustland Fairy Tale. In this, it seemed like their album's epic. And when I say epic, I don't mean like awesome, I mean like a journey. The Rising Tide was probably the most skippable song for me. I think they should have switched it out with an extra song that they had called Prize Fighter. We'll talk about that more in the end. The only thing is, it did have a good lyric in it. I liked "The company you keep, they plan your crucifixion as we speak." I really like that line. Part of a Girl was incredibly sweet. I thought that it was this album's lullaby. If every album had to or should include a lullaby, this would be it. Brandon Flowers is just so lyrically, musically, and vocally just awesome. But the thing is, I don't like to say it so much because I think that he knows it. As if he's watching. From here on out, reminded me of a couple tracks from Flamingo, because when that is Brandon Flowers' album, yes. Flamingo had a couple, I don't want to say campy songs, but they were a little bit, I don't want to say goofy either. Campy is probably a better word. But they were upbeat, they were kind of easygoing, and I think that they allude to something that he would have heard in the bars over like a jukebox of Las Vegas, possibly. Be Still was another one of my favorites. It was very beautiful and intimate, and it made me think I'd like to see the reference to these lyrics and why he did these lyrics, but I believe it sounds like it's towards his kids. And I also got, I feel like I don't know if I should say all this stuff that I'm thinking, but the labor till the work is done reiteration in the chorus reminded me, and I don't know anything, I don't know why I thought this, but he is Mormon, and it reminded me of the Mormon lifestyle. Not, like, I think I'm mixing it up with Amish, and I know that's not right. I know that Mormon does not mean Amish, but Mormons are a very proud kind of religion. Not proud. No, they're not even proud, they're humble. I don't know. Maybe Mormons, tell me what you guys think. Does that allude to your religion? I have nothing against anybody. But let's get to my absolute favorite song of the entire album. That was Battleborn! From beginning to end is just awesome. As soon as it opens up, I get so excited. I played this song over and over again. And again, I heard a lot of really retro references. Not within the lyrics, but the guitars, the sounds, the rhythms, they were very retro. And how long? It just makes you want to go, yes! because it just gets you pumped. I want to listen to it every day of my life. See, this isn't a very intelligent review anymore. I'm just very excited about this song. Okay, Carry Me Home. Actually, I can talk about this one. Carry Me Home was refreshing because as soon as I saw the title, I thought it was going to be another lullaby. But it actually drove the album out in a very positive and upbeat way. The lead-in to the song, this was the song that reminded me of 70s fantasy. Like, epic movies, if you guys agree. And that is just so cool to me that you can integrate it in a really dumb way. You can make it sound pretentious and unfitting and stupid, but the Killers are so talented that they created a really well-blended album. To move on to the extra tracks that I think were on the, do I have the deluxe edition? Yes, I do. I'm such a good fan. A Flesh and Bone remix by Jacques Lucon. How about that? Wasn't that beautiful? Jacques Lucon. It was better, I believe, than the original remix, the original mix. It was so pumped with energy. It was like listening to the song, but really understanding kind of the excitement in it. I know that it was a tech remix, and that it was faster. It was a little mixed up. I believe the lyrics were in the wrong place, but if I had to go and listen to Flesh and Bone on my computer, I would more likely want to listen to that mix. And then Prize Fighter was also, I guess, in sorts of a B-side. The thing is, it seems like a lot of B-sides, the reason why they're excluded from albums besides time or amount of songs is because they don't exactly fit with the rest of the albums and the themes run through them. The thing is, I believe this song fit better than a couple others. It fit the theme of fighting, standing up, being victorious, or losing graciously. It really held those themes together. And Brandon Flowers, he played his little drama card in there. It was so much fun. So overall, I really, really enjoyed this album. I believe it was uplifting, and I believe that it was so complete. Like, you can have a collection of songs, and then you can have an album where the threads just run through it like clockwork. You know, everything works together like gears, and they support each other in that sense. You can have your favorite songs, but you can really love the album also for what it is as a whole. And that I did. So I'm going to give it 5 stars. Tell me what you guys think if you haven't already. With that, I bid you good night. Still light out. Peace, love, rock and roll. Woo! Battleborn!